Hey guys, it's Nico here from the German channel. Yeah, you might be wondering what I'm doing here, but nobody has seen Matt in hours, actually in days, so...
Are Pochettino Spurs days nearing an end? There's a three-way battle for Ousmane Dembele. There's some interesting domestic cup action across Europe. Ajax are facing an uphill struggle to hold on to their star players, and we have today's great debate. That and more coming up in the next few minutes, as I'm your host Matt Froelich, you are the Onefootballers, and this is the Halloween Daily News. First up, is Mauricio Pochettino on the verge of leaving Tottenham for Real Madrid? After they sacked their manager Julen Lopetegui and Antonio Conte apparently hit a stumbling block in the contract, Pochettino is now the #1 favourite to take over. Now, despite committing his future to Spurs in the summer and saying he's completely loyal to the project at Tottenham, he may be tempted to move to Real Madrid, and to be honest, I don't really blame him. Over the last few days, Pochettino has said at press conferences that the stadium is annoying him. He hasn't been overly happy with the lack of signing of players, and to be honest, he's the unhappiest he's been at the club in 5 years. This is where Real Madrid can come in and offer him everything that he wants and more money. They'll give him a stadium which is completely done. They'll give him a squad of great players. They'll give him loads of money to spend in the transfer window and for his own personal bank account. Apparently, they'll double his wages to around £17 million a year. Who wouldn't move for that? Let's be honest. But it's not all bad news for Spurs, as yesterday midfielder Dele Alli committed his long-term future to the club by signing a new deal which will take him up to the summer of 2024. And talking of signings, it's Spurs' big rivals who are looking to strengthen yet again in this January transfer window with Barcelona's Ousmane Dembele. Apparently his attitude isn't quite right, which, first off, should be something that Barcelona knew when he forced a move through from Dortmund. But they're really unhappy with him in the 18 months that he's been at the new camp and could look to recoup some of the money they paid for him, with Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool all interested in his services. The French World Cup winner is obviously a talented player, but we aren't seeing his best side at Barcelona, despite the fact he's had a pretty decent start to the season. So out of Chelsea, Liverpool and Arsenal, which one do you guys think Dembele would fit best? Will his playing style and enigmatic attitude be brought out best under Maurizio Sarri at Chelsea, Klopp at Liverpool or Unai Emery at Arsenal? Let me know in the comment section down below which one of those three you think will work for him. And talking of Chelsea, tonight they welcome back a club legend in the round of 16 in the Carabao Cup as Frank Lampard brings his Derby side to Stamford Bridge after masterminding an incredible win on penalties at Old Trafford in the last round. The former Chelsea legend played over 600 games for the club and is their top goal scorer with 211 goals. And it's this respect which has led him to say that he won't be overly celebrating should Derby win. For me, that's kind of wrong, and he definitely should be celebrating. Yes, I know he's had a fantastic career and he wants to pay his respect. I'm not saying he should do what Adebayor did for Man City against Arsenal or David Seaman against Arsenal, but on the other hand, you should show your new team that you're committed to them and that you're willing to celebrate in their victories. There'll be nothing worse than as Derby players coming back into the dressing room, celebrating a victory and having your manager sit there and think about his former club. That just wouldn't do right. Alongside this, some domestic cup action for Real Madrid tonight as they travel to Melilla to face off in the first leg of their round of 32 in the Copa del Rey. But the interesting fact about this game as well, technically Real Madrid will be playing it in North Africa on a completely separate continent. This is because Melilla, although part of Spain, sits in the north of Morocco, surrounded by a tiny border to the rest of the country. This will make an incredible quiz question in a few years to come, so make sure you keep that information locked up. But moving on quickly and to some transfer news where Ajax, like always, face a struggle to hold on to their best players. When Tottenham aren't poaching the likes of Eriksen, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Davinson Sanchez, it's the rest of Europe that wants some of their players, although this hasn't deterred Tottenham from coming back in for someone else as well. Hakim Ziyech was linked to Roma over the summer and reports are suggesting they could come back in for him in January. Matthias de Ligt has also been linked with Spurs and Barcelona. Frankie de Jong's also been linked with Barcelona. David Neres could be moving to Dortmund, and finally, Tagliafico, the left-back who played every game for Argentina in the World Cup, has been linked to Arsenal in an £8 million move, which could spell the end of Nacho Monreal's career at the Gunners. With all of this happening, it's a surprise that Ajax managed to maintain such a challenge at the top of the league, but we all know about their famed academy, so it won't be long before these players leave and a whole new batch of wonder kids come through the system. And lastly but not least, we come on to our great debate for the week. This is where the newsroom here at Onefootball send over a question which will boggle minds and leave everyone split in their opinion. To check out what all of them thought, make sure you check out the app. But today's question is, who is the most underrated player in the Premier League? For me, I've gone for Ross Barkley. It was actually a close one between him and Callum Wilson, who I think deserves a call up to the England squad at least for his goals at Bournemouth. But back to Barkley, and to be honest, I can't see a deal better than this decade. When Chelsea signed him for 15 million, he had a history of attitude problems and injuries. He even missed most of last season, making only 2 Premier League appearances. But his form at the beginning of this season shows that he really is a top player. You don't just get comparisons to Paul Gascoigne without actually being a pretty decent player. And his form has shown that. He's managed to work his way back into the England setup as well. Mark my words on this one, Ross Barkley will be one of the best midfielders in the Premier League this season. But who is your underrated player of the season? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as said before, don't forget to check out the rest of our news and thoughts on this matter in the app. That's all from me for today. Make sure you click here to check out all the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. Make sure you also hit that like button down below and have a great Halloween. Happy trick or treating. I'll see you tomorrow.